You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
A whole host of volunteers and supporters that came out because they believed in what we were doing. They wanted to see a change in Tallahassee, and they got behind it by knocking on doors, by making phone calls, by making contributions to the campaign, and without them, I wouldn't be here today.
It was a stunning victory that proved Democrats can win on the Suncoast. Now Margaret Good debates Ray Pilon, who aims to take back the seat for the GOP. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have the debate between State Representative Margaret Good and Ray Pilon in a moment. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight with a reminder: at the heart of politics are people. And last night, April Freeman was hard at work making calls for her campaign for Congress in the 17th Congressional District. Today, she died of an apparent heart attack, according to her husband. Her husband, David, posted about her passing on Facebook today. Freeman won the Democratic primary and would have faced State Senator Greg Steube in November in the race for the seat being vacated by Tom Rooney. Freeman ran for the seat against Rooney 2 years ago, but lost. And another well-known figure in Manatee County has passed away. Dave Bristow died suddenly last night of natural causes. For 3 decades, Bristow served as the public information officer for the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. Before that, he worked right here at ABC7 as morning anchor and Manatee County reporter. He was also the longtime voice of Manatee Hurricane football. There is no word yet on memorial service, but we will update you as more information becomes available. And all of us here at ABC7 would like to extend our heartfelt thoughts and prayers to his family and his co-workers at the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. 3 people are dead tonight after a domestic dispute ends in a double murder-suicide. Manatee County Sheriff's deputies say 53-year-old James Bennett and his wife, 35-year-old Savannah, started to argue in their home soon after James' mother, Carla Bennett, heard gunshots before he pulled the gun on himself. James also shot his stepdaughter, 16-year-old Andrea Barberina Rojas. She was a Lakewood Ranch High School student. Carla was able to escape the house with 2-year-old Caitlin Bennett, whose birthday they were celebrating earlier that day.
Yeah, it shouldn't really happen. I don't know what's really behind the act of it, but kids should always feel safe in their home. And, once again, as a parent, we are there to guide them and give them all the support we can.
There's grief counselors for students that know the kids and are affected by it. So it's just a sensitive subject, so everyone's got to kind of, be proactive about it.
Deputies say at this point they can only speculate what exactly set James off. A Punta Gorda teenager remains behind bars tonight, accused of threatening to open fire at Northport High School's homecoming dance. Police say 19-year-old Anthony Grimaldi threatened to shoot up the high school homecoming dance in a text and social media message to his ex-girlfriend, a student at Northport High. Police say Grimaldi told her he would carry out the threat if she danced with any other boys on Saturday night. Investigators say they arrested him after learning he had been in possession of a 9mm handgun and an AR-15 rifle for about a month. Police say the threat alone warranted a $300,000 bond.
Causes a disruption at the school. It causes fear among students and parents, but we certainly have a responsibility to look into all those things. And I think, overall in this particular case, I think people should have some comfort knowing that we did take it seriously, we did look into it, and charges were filed.
Sarasota County School District says since none of this happened on campus, they will continue homecoming as scheduled and will be using the guidance of Northport Police Department for student safety. More assistance is on the way for people still dealing with the aftermath of last September's Hurricane Irma. The State Department of Economic Opportunity announcing Rebuild Florida program today, which will help low-income Floridians in all parts of the 14 counties pay for still uncompleted home repairs caused by damage from the storm. In partnership with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, DEO will use hundreds of millions of dollars to fix or replace damaged homes and trailers while finishing many partially repaired housing units.
Rebuild Florida is a program that will help low-income families in the hardest-hit communities across the state whose home was damaged by Hurricane Irma.
To see if you qualify for assistance or to sign up, visit www.rebuildflorida.gov. If you aren't currently registered to vote, you still have the time before the general election, but the clock is ticking. The last day to register to be eligible to vote in the November 6th general election is Tuesday, October 6th. Applications can be mailed in or go to registertovoteflorida.gov. Voters who have moved, changed names, or need to update their signatures since the last election and update their voter records. If you are using your voting early eligibility, go to sarasotavotes.com to check. And we will have opening remarks from State Representative Margaret Good and Ray Pilon in a moment. But first, let's head over to ABC7's Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the weather forecast. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. Some big storms have fired up along the Sun Coast, along the sea breeze, and that continues to move to the west. You can see that lightning very intense now in Pinellas County and down in South Sarasota County. At this hour, the rainfall is the heaviest in South Sarasota County. It's lessening now in Manatee, but there's still some lightning strikes around, so be careful of that. Although the rain is not all that intense, so the storms are still pretty intense down to our south. That's where all the warnings are right now. We do have a flood advisory in effect. The lightning strikes have come down with all the cells about an hour ago. These were up to 800 per 15 minutes. 800 strikes per 15 minutes, now down below 200. Now you can see that rain and lightning still heavy in Minnesota Beach up to South Venice, stretching over to Jacaranda, and then even into Northport, some light rainfall there. Another storm developing. We do have a special marine warning in effect where you see the area in orange right here all across the Suncoast waters due to that increased activity with the sea breeze collision. That marine warning will be in effect for the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. This area in green is a flood advisory, an urban flood advisory as a result of the heavy rainfall. Up to 3 inches fell in just a short period of time, causing some ponding of the water in the roadways there. You can see that rain pretty heavy. I took the lightning out near Tarpon Point, Warm Mineral Springs, Minnesota Beach, South Venice, and then this cell is moving off to the northwest. So we can expect the rain to continue down here. Also some light rain in Manatee County continuing for the next hour or so, then things will calm down. Let's take a look at what's happening at Tampa Stadium right now. Tampa, the big Buccaneers game tonight, Monday Night Football. Looking a lot better than it was just about a half hour ago. Still some light rainfall around. By the time kickoff occurs, it should be okay there with all the heavier rainfall out of the way. Still some light rain possible, but I don't think there'll be any delays as far as the game goes. We'll have more in our forecast, and the tropics still very active at this time. Details and all that coming up in a few minutes. Alan?
Thanks, Bob. Last spring, the special election for House District 72 became a national cause celeb, a barometer of the national mood, one of a number of special elections across the country that tested voters where voters were at. In a stunning victory, and thanks in no small part to help from Republican women who crossed party lines, attorney Margaret Good beat James Buchanan, the son of the Congressman Vern Buchanan. But that was then. And this is now, and every House seat in Florida is up for grabs, and this time Margaret Good is running against the former occupant of the seat, former State Representative Ray Pilon, and we welcome you both to the trapezoid. Thank you. You've both been here before, so we're going to start with opening remarks, and Margaret, we're going to start with you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ray, and thank you everyone for watching tonight. My name is Margaret Good, and I'm here because I see this great divide between what Floridians actually want and what our legislature does for us. For 20 years, the Republicans have held Tallahassee, and Ray Pilon has been there for 6 of them. And what has that gotten us? It's gotten us polluted water, it's gotten us exacerbated red tide, it's gotten us underfunded public education, and it's gotten us millions of people without access to affordable health care. I want to change that. That's why I ran back in August, and that's why I'm here today. I promised to be a champion for the environment, and I voted against making it easier to develop wetlands. I promised that I would be a champion for our public education system, and in the legislature, I spoke out against the privatization of our public education system. I promised to be accessible and accountable. And in the 8 months since I've been in office, I've held 7 town halls and have moved the district office into the district for the first time in a decade. I have the energy and the commitment to serve this district. And at the end of the day, I'm going to do what's good for Florida families, what's good for our local economy, and what's good for the environment. And I would be honored to have your vote in November.
Ray.
Thank you, Alan. It's good to be with you again. Hi, everybody. I'm Ray Pilon. And Ray Pilon has been a resident here since 1975. involved in this community for as long as I can remember, not always as a politician. I raised my family here. I spent most of my 23 years in law enforcement with the Sarasota County Sheriff's Department. And it's just a wonderful feeling to know that my kids went to Sarasota schools, public schools by the way, and got a great education, went to a Florida university and are both living still in Florida and working. And I think that's very important to us in the future. Now, it's really easy to talk about what Ray did or didn't do when he was in the legislature, but if we have a chance a little later on, I'll put a little emphasis on what Ray really did in the environment, what he has accomplished through those years. I was only there 6 years. I left, and of course we had this special election because the person that got elected quit. So here we are, fast forward. I want to move Florida forward, not backwards. And if we elect my opponent, we will have higher taxes. They're about Medicare for all. We'll have more money for public schools, which I think we're going to have even as Republicans. And we can talk about what a private school is, and what a charter school is, and what a not-for-profit charter school is, and how we actually feel about those instead of talking in generalities. I got into office the first time to work for you. I want to work for you again and for this community. I'm dedicated to this community, and I belong to this community, and I want to serve you again. Ray Pilon.
All right, thank you both. Coming up, what will my first question to these candidates be? We'll find out in just a moment.
WWSB ABC7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now.
Kettle's got it. Kettle's got it. Kettle's got what you're looking for at Kettle.com. 17 new car brands, over 1,000 used vehicles, prices and payments you can afford. Credit help if you need it, and they pay cash for your old car. Plus, Kettle Pre-Owned Certified Plus means buying with peace of mind. Need service? Kettle's got that too. Kettle's got it. Visit Kettle.com.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
There's nothing like this trail in Alabama. It just goes from the northern part of the state to the southern part of the state. We see all kind of different terrains, great value, great fun. We've been coming for 18 years. We started off with a group of 8, grew to 12, and grew to 16. And we love it because where else can you get world-class golf courses with world-class accommodations? To be able to play these type of courses in this environment, and the difficulty keeps us coming back over and over and over again.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real.
You can recover.
It's possible. It happens every day.
Never give up on yourself.
Discover hope and help.
The world is a beautiful place again.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
Welcome back. Tonight, the two candidates fighting for House 72. We're doing a debate joined by State Representative Margaret Good and her Republican challenger, Ray Pilon. Every election when there is an incumbent is about whether that incumbent should keep their job or whether they should be fired. So, Ray, why should voters who just elected Margaret Good just a few months ago fire her already?
Well, it's just a matter of what you want as a voter and what you want as a citizen of Sarasota. I feel that her plan and her ideology is not what this community wanted when they elected me and when I defeated Keith Fitzgerald and when I defeated my other two Democrats. This is a very moderate community in a lot of respects, but we have a lot of very ultra-conservatives. The demographics here are wide. So I always prided myself on constituent response. So I have a record of constituent response, of responding to the community, and I don't want to go in the direction of tax and spend, and that's what the opposition party wants.
Margaret, why should voters allow you to keep your job?
Well, as we've seen firsthand over the last several months, a healthy environment is key to our economy and our way of life. If you look at what's happened over the past 8 years and the rollback of environmental protections, and you look at the way that Mr. Pilon voted, it's clear that you have two choices. We can move Florida forward, or we can get stuck in the toxic policies that Ray Pilon and the Republican Party started. And just let me give you two examples. Even as early as 1997, Mr. Pilon Mr. Pilon opposed a plan to move Sarasota from septic to sewer along Philippi Creek. And if you look at what's happening right now in 2018 on those streets along Philippi Creek, we are just moving from septic to sewer. He also voted to roll back water quality standards that has allowed more fertilizer to go into our waterways. There's a clear difference here.
All right,
Let's talk about it.
We'll give you 30 seconds to rebut.
The rebuttal is that, first of all, name the bills that I voted against the septic, because I have in front of me $24,500,000 for the Donna Bay restoration, the Philippi Creek septic to sewer, the restoration, and the replacement that we put forward and got from the others. Now, if you're talking about big bills where you had to throw the baby out with the bathwater, that's different. Environmentally, we have a fertilizer ordinance. Doesn't help if nobody pays attention to it, and we've cleaned up the bay.
All right, I have to stop you there. We could continue on this subject if you'd like in our next segment, but right now we have to get to Bob Harrigan and our first alert forecast. Bob.
And look at this, folks, rainbow, double rainbow at that. Tara, earlier this evening, we had Mark Unger getting this beautiful shot, and a lot of folks are sending photos in right now to pics at mysuncoast.com as a result of the rainfall kind of winding down in North Sarasota, but still fairly intense down in South Sarasota County. It really exploded this afternoon, as expected. We had the East Coast breeze make it all the way over, and that West Coast breeze was pinned right along I-75, and that's where the storms just lined up with a tremendous amount of lightning and heavy rainfall for areas, mainly in South Sarasota County is where the heaviest rain fell, over 3 inches in just a short period of time. The National Weather Service issuing a flood advisory for South Sarasota County, including Port Charlotte near Northport, stretching down just to the east of Englewood tonight. That rain is starting to wind down. All the energy that was around being used up. The West Coast breeze getting beat up now, and it heads off into the Gulf of Mexico. It'll stay out there, and we'll still see a little bit of rainfall here in the next hour in South Sarasota County, but that is starting to wind down. Light rainfall now in Manatee, North Sarasota near Lakewood Ranch, and places to the north as well, getting some pretty big storms in St. Petersburg. South Venice, and in Venice, moderate rainfall, still some lightning out there. So again, not the time to go outdoors at this point. I mentioned the rainfall estimates. Most everyone got rain into Sarasota County. Manatee County, just parts of it, kind of broke up as it headed toward Bradenton and also Anna Maria Island. But by far the bullseye was right there near US 41 and El Jobim Road, 3 inches in less than an hour, 1.8 near Northport, and lesser amounts as you pushed off to the west thereof. So the storms tonight coming to an end, and then we'll see fair skies after midnight, low temperatures down into the mid-70s. Tomorrow, we do it all over again with showers and storms developing in the afternoon. Some of those could be rather intense. On Wednesday, we'll get more of a southerly flow to our wind, and that means not as much convergence set up along the west coast sea breeze, so you won't have the direct opposing winds, and that has a tendency to create stronger storms, but we'll still see a few on Wednesday, and that rain chance is still fairly high for a few passing showers on Wednesday afternoon and evening. Your day planner for Tuesday looks like this. Nice start for the day for drop off for the kids. Looks to be okay. Noon, sunny and warming up. Heat indices tomorrow will be close to 100 degrees before those cooling showers come in the afternoon. Well, all is busy in the tropics still. Here we go. We've got a lot of activity to talk about. This is Tropical Storm Leslie. We also have the remnants of what was Kirk. Kirk is heading off to the west, looking rather impressive on the satellite imagery. And the disturbance southwest of Bermuda is getting better organized. In fact, it has a 50% chance of developing over the next couple of days now as it heads off to the northwest. So we'll keep an eye on all those for you right now. No threats to Florida at this point. We don't anticipate that. This one, on the other hand, could bring some rainfall to where they don't need it in North Carolina, as we're starting to see some pretty big storms developing what appears to be around the center, and that's heading off to the west, northwest, and eventually the forecast models are suggesting a pretty close call to North Carolina and then heading off and getting picked up by a cold front as it takes off to the northeast into the open waters of the Atlantic. So the boating forecast looks like this. We'll see winds out of the southeast tomorrow. Turn to the southwest late in the day. Seas will be running 2 feet or less with a light chop out there. The rain forecast staying fairly high for afternoon and evening storms. Most of the day will be okay. We'll see sunny skies, temperatures staying above average right through the next 7 days. We'll be right back after this.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now. In one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
40 Carats Family Center and the Community Foundation of Sarasota County present a free speaker event, Unselfie, Why Empathetic Kids Succeed in Our All About Me World, featuring parenting educator and author Michelle Borba at Riverview High School on Tuesday, September 25th at 7 p.m. Help children become successful, moral, courageous, and resilient. RSVP required at 40carats.org. That's FORTYcarats.org.
Designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here, because
Why, you don't like my hair?
The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds.
No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm going to show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch The Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
Welcome back. Tonight, the two candidates fighting for House 72, and they're debating tonight. Joining us is State Representative Margaret Good and her Republican challenger, Ray Pilon. And Representative, you brought up the issue of red tide, which has really wreaked havoc on the Suncoast this summer. Also, the green slide coming from Lake Okeechobee. So specifically, what would you do about it?
Well, there's going to be a long road to fix it, but before we can fix it, we need to look at what caused it. And we need to fund research, which we are currently doing, but we also need to look back at the policies that have led to this pollution. Because while red tide is naturally occurring, the nutrients that we are putting into our water supply is exacerbating it. And if you look at what the legislature has done over the past 8 years, and as I said, Mr. Pilon was there for a lot of these votes and voted with the Republican establishment 96% of the time. If you look at it, he voted to roll back septic tank inspections. That was a protection to make sure that we're not seeping sewage into our aquifer and into our water supply. He opposed the Land and Water Conservation Amendment, which overwhelmingly the voters supported and which is supposed to fund land preservation. So if you look at the things that have happened over the past decade that has gotten our environment into this crisis, you see a clear path. And the only way to deal with that is by changing the people that are making the decisions.
Ray, your party has controlled the legislature and the governor's office for many years now. Does your party bear some responsibility, and do you have any ideas how to fix it?
Of course. But first of all, you know, my favorite president was Ronald Reagan. And he, when an opponent would do this to him, he would turn to them and say, "There you go again." Well, there you go again, Margaret. Name me the bills, name me the circumstances, name me why we did the septic tanks, because the Senate wouldn't do it. Name all those things. You can throw that stuff out there. But I can throw out there that when I wasn't in the legislature, $179 million for the Peace River Water Authority to build a 4 billion gallon reservoir on state land from Save Our Rivers. And not one bit of land mitigation had to be done. We restored wetlands. As I mentioned before, the septic to sewer, the NEP program when I was a commissioner, and that got our bay and our grasses back. So if you want, you know, if we want to get into other topics, you know, she was there for 8 months. She was only there from February 13th until the first week in March. So I'll match my votes against hers because she's got a lot of hard votes to make like that in the future. So, you know, be specific. We can throw generalities all day. I can be specific.
All right, we have to take a quick break. We are just getting warmed up. Our House 72 debate continues in a moment. Stay with us.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S., and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do. Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000. Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
What do you get when you cross your tired, aching back with this fragile egg? The Egg Sitter Cushion, an amazing new flex cushion that supports your backside and spine so well you can sit on an egg without breaking it. Incredible!
You want me to sit on this egg? Okay. I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't even feel it. It didn't even break? Oh, I was wondering about that. Now that's a good cushion.
The honeycomb design is constructed of Elasticor that absorbs pressure points by collapsing in on itself. That's why even this egg won't break under direct pressure. Now long days at the office will be more comfortable, dinner more enjoyable, and painful car rides a thing of the past. Get your Egg Sitter Support Cushion for just $39.99. It comes with a free non-slip washable cover and our 10-year comfort guarantee. But wait, call right now and you can get a second cushion. Just pay separate fee. Call now.
Call 1-800-232-1564. That's 1-800-232-1564. Call now or go to eggsitter.com. Order now.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework.
He hates homework.
It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his backpack.
I can't find my backpack.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's just
trying
gotta
as
try
hard
a
as
little harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone. Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
Imagine a world filled with pillow fights, playgrounds, and the search for the perfect climbing tree. Every kid deserves that world, but 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger. At No Kid Hungry, we're committed to creating a world where every kid eats healthy food every day. We raise funds, we help families, and we lift up communities.
ABC7, the Suncoast's official Florida lottery station. You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back, everyone. Tonight, the two candidates fighting for House 72 debate. We are joined by State Representative Margaret Good and her Republican challenger, Ray Pilon. Ray, let me ask you this question, because you talked about your opponent here as a tax and spender, but the reality is Florida ranks dead last in spending on mental health. We rank dead last in the nation in terms of education, even in terms of funding for vets. We rank sixth to last. In some cases, don't we have to start spending the money? Because if you look at school shootings and mental health issues, they've caused so many problems over the years.
No argument. Here's the difference. I don't believe that we need any more taxes to do that. We have an and she's even said this after I said it at Kona, but we have an $89 billion budget. We're going to have another $275 million in reserves. What I want to fight for this time is to make sure that we come back from those days of the recession when we had to cut so much, get our mental health community programs back in place, start these programs at a faster pace than we have been able to do before. I've always fought for that, didn't always win, but I fight for it because I fight for it in our community. The difference is I don't need a higher tax on corporate infrastructure. When that infrastructure or corporate companies, because that has been reduced at a rate at which it would not affect the income into the budget. The result of that has been that we've got more money to companies who then can hire more people, and then those people spend sales tax. The governor that she's supporting says he wants to raise it a big bunch. I'm not going to quote even how much it is. It's almost ridiculous. It would cost trillions of dollars to do that. Medicare for all, I don't think we need that. I don't think we can afford it. So if you want to talk about realities, yes, we have much more to do. Did we fail in some areas, especially in mental health? I was a huge supporter. I worked for Coastal Behavioral Health Care for years, as a matter of fact. That was a great program that has been underfunded, and I'm going to fight hard to make sure we get those dollars back.
Margaret?
So I think before we start talking about raising taxes, we need to look at our budget. We passed the largest budget in Florida history, but we are not funding, as you noted, we are not funding mental health programs. Our public education system is still underfunded, but we're spending almost $1 billion on these school vouchers that's siphoning money out of our public education system and to for-profit corporations. I believe that we have the money in the budget to do what's good for Florida. It's just a reprioritization.
So in other words, you disagree with your nominee that we should raise the corporate income tax, is that right?
I believe Andrew Gillum brings some really exciting ideas.
You didn't answer the question.
I believe that Andrew Gillum brings some really exciting ideas to the table, but on that one, I believe I'm physically conservative, and I believe that before we start looking at raising taxes, we need to look at our current budget.
Let's change the subject just a little bit, because you mentioned education and charter schools and so forth. There was a recent report that came out from a nonprofit organization called Integrity Florida, that the state record showed that 373 charter schools have closed since 1998 in Florida, and worst, it says there are hidden costs, represent corporate for-profit taxpayer scams that look more like corporate welfare than public education. Margaret, is it time to scale back our programs for charter schools in Florida?
It's past time. Now, Sarasota has some really great community-based nonprofit charter schools. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is these corporations that come into communities. We are paying for their infrastructure with our tax dollars, but then they can shut down and they sell the land and they keep the money. It's not right. They're not being held accountable to our public education. There's no or very little state oversight. And we are using that money to fund them instead of investing in our public education.
Same question to you, Ray.
Yeah, exactly. We actually agree on that. I have fought adamantly against my own party on for-profit schools, charter schools, especially when it comes to PICO dollars. Those are the capital dollars for their infrastructure. They should be private schools. How this got out of control, I can tell you based on previous leadership. But the leadership that's coming in this time into the House is completely different, and we're going to take another look at that. I'm going to fight hard to make sure that charter schools are under the control, the not-for-profits, the local charter schools. And why don't we talk about public education having more magnet schools? Because that's what a charter school is, except that a charter school here like Sarasota Military Academy or Arts and Science has their own board. They can raise money that can offset the cost, even though they still have to get money per student from the main public schools. So I think we're on the right path. It's just a matter of which one of us can get it done.
Alan, I would have to disagree with Mr. Pilon. If you look at his voting record, he voted in favor of increasing the voucher program back in 2012. He voted to make it easier for corporate charter schools to get construction funding, and he voted to exempt charter schools from certain reporting requirements that all other public schools have to have.
Let me tell you how that happens, because that's not unfair. That's not fair. Right. It's not fair. First of all, it shows that when you haven't been in the legislature and you don't know, except her last session, when the big budget comes out and that big education bill comes out, all of that stuff is wrapped up in there. I disagreed with many of the things that she just talked about. What I didn't disagree with is I don't disagree with scholarships for tax credits from private companies. She voted, one of the few votes that she had when she was there, she voted against on 7055, the House bill, voted against having students that have been physically and mentally abused in their schools being able to have a voucher, a scholarship to go to another school.
Right, let's move on to another issue while we have time here. And Ray, I know when you were in the legislature, you butted heads on occasion with the NRA. One of the first pieces of legislation Margaret did get to vote on was in the aftermath of Parkland, was the school safety bill. She voted against it because it did not, and correct me if I'm wrong, because it did not include a ban on assault weapons. Would you be for a ban on assault weapons in Florida?
Let's take it from the top. First of all, she voted against it. I'm sure that Marion Hammer with the NRA will probably like to send her a letter and thanking her for voting against it, because they were dead set against the 18-year-old background checks and ability to buy weapons. But to the heart of your question, I am for banning any weapon from a person that is going to use it unwisely to shoot somebody else because they had access to it, through which you could ban every assault weapon in the country, which, by the way, you can't do. So it's an unfair question. Would I be in favor of banning assault weapons? Banning them for who? The bad guys? Yeah. How are you going to do that for the bad guys? The underground and the black market for those weapons is very easy to get a hold of.
Margaret?
So the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Public Safety Act was the bill that was the most discussed while I was there. We had a big special election win on February 13th. On February 14th, I got up at 4:45 in the morning and I drove up to Tallahassee to get sworn in. And minutes after I was sworn into office, the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting happened. So it affected me, and I thought a lot about what we should do, because everyone wanted to do something. And then the legislature came up with this bill. I brought an amendment onto the House floor to require universal background checks, because that's one of those things where there's this great divide. 96% of Floridians want universal background checks. They think it's a good idea. Studies show that states that have universal background check requirements have fewer gun-related deaths. Yet our legislature won't do it. It was hotly contested, and it was ultimately voted down on party lines. This is the problem with our legislature. There is no working together. There is no common sense solutions. And if you look at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas bill, there are unfunded mandates in there, which we have seen play out in the Sarasota County School Board. They're trying to figure out how they're going to have the money to put armed personnel in every single school, and I am against arming educators.
I'll give you 15 seconds and then I have to take a commercial.
15 seconds. We have armed, trained people in our school system. The school system just got a grant, and if her side had won that vote, it wouldn't have been an unfunded mandate, it would be a no mandate. So why would you ever give away all $400 million?
All right, we have to take a quick break. Closing statements by the candidates when we return. Stay with us.
The final 2018 Accord clearance is now during our model year-end clearance sale. Drive new Accords for just $249 a month. Get an Accord, the North American Car of the Year, for less than the competition. With more standard features than Camry, Honda Sensing, multi-angle camera, turbocharged engine, and more. New Accords, just $249 a month. Your last chance for new Accords. All on clearance this week at your local Honda dealer.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Gettle's got what you're looking for at Gettle.com. 17 new car brands, over 1,000 used vehicles, prices and payments you can afford. Credit help if you need it, and they pay cash for your old car. Plus, Gettle Pre-Owned Certified Plus means buying with peace of mind. Need service? Gettle's got that too. Gettle's got it. Visit Gettle.com.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
The Players Center presents the wild Broadway season opener, Annie, Get Your Gun. There's no business like show business. This slice of magical American musical theater will thrill you with the classic tunes of Irving Berlin. Call the Players Center at 365-2494 or visit us at theplayers.org. Annie, Get Your Gun, September 18th through October 7th. Let's go on with the show.
And we move on to closing arguments, and Ray, you get to go first.
Thank you, Alan, and I know we have a short time, but I want to thank you again for allowing us to do this. You've heard a debate tonight, and we've heard some fire going back and forth, but it has been civil, and I appreciate that. I have always been a person, and my record shows it, and the community knows it, a person that loves to put people before politics. I've crossed the line with my own party. I've worked with the Democrats, especially on juvenile justice and on health care, and has been very successful. We can attack each other, but whether it's red tide where I want to put an action plan in or somebody just wants to point fingers, I think we need a better attitude towards it. I also think that when we're talking about moving Florida forward. We know the past mistakes. We know what we have to do, and I'm willing to do it. We haven't talked about sanctuary cities. We haven't talked much about taxes, except now she says she doesn't want to raise her taxes. So it'll be interesting when her governor says, how are you going to vote, Ms. Good? And we haven't talked about Medicare for all. Those are serious issues, and I hope to talk about them to the public in the future. Thank you.
Alan, thank you so much for having me on, and thank you to everyone out there watching. Your vote on November 6th can really make a difference. We can work together to move Florida forward, or we can be stuck in the policies of the past. It is time to make a change in Florida. I will be a champion for a clean environment. I will work to fully fund our public education system, and I'll work to make sure that we have a robust economy that works for everyone while being a good steward of our tax dollars. In the end of the day, I'm going to do what's good for our families, what's good for actual Floridians, what's good for the environment, and at the end of the day, what's good for Florida. And I would so appreciate your support and your vote on November 6th.
Margaret and Ray, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
We want to thank Margaret Good and Ray Palin. We also want to send our condolences to the friends and the family of April Freeman, the Democratic nominee in the 17th Congressional District, who died today unexpectedly. Politics and politicians often get a bad rap, and sometimes that is deserved. But we also need to remember men and women like April put their lives and careers on hold to offer themselves to voters. April entered the arena more than once to fight for the issues that she believed in. Today, Democrats and Republicans are remembering a woman who was in it for the right reasons, to make our community and our nation a better place. So tonight, as we debate our differences, we also want to celebrate a woman admired by members of both parties for her passion, dedication, and hard work. When we return, Judge Kavanaugh is being accused by a second woman of sexual misconduct. What does this mean for the nominee for the next Supreme Court justice? And right now, let's get a final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Heck. Bob.
The good news is the heavy rain is coming to an end now. The lightning is also dwindling down, still out there in the Gulf of Mexico. You can see that activity working its way from the east to the west today and really exploding right there along the west coast of Florida. Still some strong cells down near Fort Myers and Naples, near Marco Island, but that excessive rainfall that occurred near Northport, Port Charlotte, and also all the way over to Inglewood is now, for the most part, just light rainfall. And it looks like that will continue to wind down here for the next hour or so. Expect some light rainfall to be around, but we're not anticipating anything too significant. And as far as the rainfall totals go, right there, a bullseye near Port Charlotte, up to 3 inches in just a short period of time. So the futurecast calling for skies to become generally fair after midnight. Low temperatures will be down into the mid-70s, and we'll look for another day of showers and storms tomorrow, late afternoon and evening. Most of the day should be fine. We'll start off with some sunshine, and temperatures will warm. A little bit above average. We'll have a heat index up near 100 in the late afternoon. And as far as Wednesday's forecast goes, still some showers around, but we're not expecting as much rainfall as we saw today. Well, the National Hurricane Center very interested in this area right here, regardless of whether it develops into a tropical storm. It is still going to bring some heavy rainfall to an area that doesn't need it. We're not talking excessive amounts, 20 to 30. We're talking more in the neighborhood of 5 to possibly 10 inches of rainfall. That's the potential there for East Carolina and Northeast South Carolina. And that will still cause some problems. Obviously, the rivers and streams are dropping, but with this additional rainfall possibly on the way, it could cause some significant problems. There's the forecast. A lot of the models bend it off before it gets there, but in a poorly organized system, a lot of times the storms can reach out far from the center of low pressure. So this is going to be something interesting to watch. Conditions will become a little bit unfavorable for development by Wednesday as it approaches the Carolina coast. So we're not expecting a big storm in terms of wind and excessive rainfall, but heavy rain not out of the question with that, and also some big surf. Well, the tropics are still very active, and we're watching the remnants of what was, again, look at this storm moving off toward the west. This is Kirk, and Kirk is starting to show some rebounding here with some outflow boundaries and some deep convection developing what appears to be the center, pushing off toward the west. Now, about 5 days from now, the winds are going to be fairly strong in the upper levels of the atmosphere near the Caribbean, and so we don't expect it to do much as it approaches and moves through the Caribbean. Temperatures have cooled. That's a nice benefit of these afternoon storms. It cools everything down. Temperatures into the mid to upper 70s now. The Gulf water temperature at 86 degrees. The feels like temperature not a big deal here. Avon Park, it still feels like 88. 79 at the airport. Winds now have switched around. That west coast sea breeze has been beat up by those storms that were around earlier. As far as the high goes today, it's been above average over the past several days now. 91. The normal high is at 88 degrees. Now, the first front that you see here, this little low pressure area, is not going to be a big factor in inhibiting the movement toward the northwest with our system. Once this system gets going and cold front kind of merges here, it will carry this off into the Atlantic. It's all about timing. How far west it gets before the front has an influence will determine how much rainfall they get there in the Carolinas. Temperatures cool, fall-like, but not for us. For highs tomorrow, will be summer-like, and that will continue for a few days at least. Winds will be out of the southeast, turning to the southwest tomorrow. For boaters, just a light chop out there. 7-day forecast then. Good chance for storms on Tuesday, similar to what we saw today. Maybe not as much coverage. Will still be a few around on Wednesday, and then we slacken off a bit as we move into Friday. And over the weekend looks good. Most of the day should be okay, just those afternoon and evening storms. Alan's right back after this.
It's Venice Toyota's monumental model year-end clearance. Rates are rising. For a limited time, 0%. New Toyotas, $8,000 off. With Camrys and Corollas, your choice from $19,900 to $15,000. Shop 24/7 at VeniceToyota.com.
Call to see if you qualify to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan right now. At Humana, we believe great things are ahead of you when you start with healthy. And part of staying healthy means choosing the right Medicare plan. Humana can help. With Original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits when you're sick, but keep in mind you'll have to pay a deductible for each. A Medicare supplement plan can cover your deductibles and coinsurance, but you may pay higher premiums than you do with other plans, and prescription drug coverage isn't included. But with an all-in-one Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get all that coverage plus Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable monthly plan premium, and in some areas, no plan premium. It's all described in this free book. Call for yours and discover how an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana could save you money. There is no obligation and the book is free. Call or go online right now.
According to a new survey by U.S. News and World Report, 3 of Alabama's top 4 hotels and resorts are part of the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail Resort Collection. The Grand Hotel Marriott Resort in Point Clear, the Battle House Renaissance Mobile Hotel and Spa, and the Renaissance Birmingham Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa. Hey, we didn't invent Southern hospitality, we just offer more of it. Visit rtjgolf.com/resorts to find out more.
Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, what was once impossible is happening today for thousands of patients with blood cancer.
I live.
I live. I live. I live. I live. She lives.
Because of the research done by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in the battle against blood cancer.
If you had a chance to support the research that is saving lives, what would you do?
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real.
You can recover.
It's possible. It happens every day.
Never give up on yourself.
Discover hope and help.
The world is a beautiful place again.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
It's Venice Toyota's monumental model year-end clearance. Rates are rising. For a limited time, 0%. New Toyotas, $8,000 off. RAVs and Highlanders from $26,900 to $2,900. Shop 24/7 at VeniceToyota.com.
Checking primetime headlines, Judge Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court taking another potential blow. A second woman is now accusing Kavanaugh of engaging in sexual misconduct. Allegedly, he drunkenly exposed himself at a party while both were freshmen at Yale. ABC's Janae Norman breaks down the latest claim and the response in Washington.
The man hoping to become the next Supreme Court justice now facing new sexual misconduct accusations. A second woman, Deborah Ramirez, Judge Brett Kavanaugh's Yale classmate, is accusing the embattled judge of sexual misconduct. The New Yorker reporting she remembers Kavanaugh had exposed himself at a drunken dormitory party. Despite the new allegation, the president is standing by his nominee.
There's a chance that this could be one of the single most unfair, unjust things to happen to a candidate for anything. But I am with Judge Kavanaugh, and I look forward to a vote.
Kavanaugh denies the claim, saying, quote, "This alleged event from 35 years ago did not happen. The people who knew me then know that this did not happen and have said so. This is a smear, plain and simple." Ronan Farrow co-wrote the story.
It is not accurate to say that those who knew him at the time dispute this. We talked to a roommate from the time that was living with him when this alleged incident took place, who said he was indeed frequently drunk, that he took part in activity that made him unsurprised by this claim, and that he found this woman credible.
This all comes days before Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, the first woman to lodge sexual misconduct allegations against Kavanaugh, is set to testify on Capitol Hill. In late July, detailing the alleged incident in a letter to Senator Dianne Feinstein, writing, "Kavanaugh was on top of me. Kavanaugh tried to disrobe me. With Kavanaugh's hand over my mouth, I feared he may inadvertently kill me." Kavanaugh has denied both accusations, and now at least one Democrat is calling for both allegations to be referred to the FBI for investigation. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
President Trump will meet with Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein Thursday. The announcement comes after speculation Rosenstein will be fired during a White House visit today. The New York Times recently reported Rosenstein secretly discussed recording President Trump and invoking the 25th Amendment to remove him from office. It's a claim that Rosenstein denies.
Meeting with Rod Rosenstein on Thursday when I get back from all of these meetings, and we'll be meeting at the White House, and we'll be determining what's going on. We want to have transparency, we want to have openness, and I look forward to meeting with Rod at that time.
Trump didn't offer any other details about the meeting, and that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.